Hey guys, it's Ann, and we're back. It's Monday morning, and I stayed very busy. If you looked over the weekend, I created those fun little, I don't know if you saw them, the promotional videos for this. I was feeling very fancy, and that was nice. I have a special guest today, but before we get to her, it occurred to me that one of the things I'm not doing is giving you the tips that I used to do all my lives. And I want to give you some tips because what happens is every day something new happens, and I come up with something that I really want my people to know about. So what happened this morning is I was looking at something and it came up that the comptroller, somebody who works in the comptroller of Maryland's office, made a comment about people who want to open up the economy. And I totally get that he has a right to his opinion. I think that's perfectly fine. But I want to remind you that you need to be intentional with your personal brand. Whether you know it or not, you have a personal brand. And that doesn't mean just what you say on your social media. It doesn't mean just what you post. It actually means your comments as well, because now I'm pretty sure this comment's going to come back to bite him, because it wasn't a really nice thing to say. And it really alienates an entire group of people the way he said it. So think about what you're saying, be intentional, and remember that when you're commenting, that is showing too, and eventually it will come back to get you. So be very careful there. I want to remind you also, we're live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And I need subscribers on YouTube. So please go over there and do that. And today, I want you to please ask questions of Miss Cherise Irons. She's with us today. This is so exciting to have you here. Cherise and I have been friends for about 3 years now, and I absolutely adore her. So she is, she used to be a teacher. That's one thing that I think stands out in everything that she does. And now she's a leadership coach, and she works with the John Maxwell team. And she's been working this month in particular on leading through crisis. So I wanted to have her on and have her give us some of her knowledge. So tell us, Cherise, about what you do and why it's more important now than ever.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Cherise Irons. Like Ann said, I am a retired educator, was a assistant principal in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and I'm so excited to be here with you. And leading through crisis, as Ann said, it's something I've been working on and dealing with as a John Maxwell team coach. As you know, we're in the middle of a crisis, and it's so much more important. It's extremely important right now how we navigate and go through this situation that we're currently in. And the reason for that is it's not going to last forever. And how you go through this is very important. One of the things is all about your perspective. You know, how you see things is how you do things. So right. It's very important that we talk about this right now.
Yeah. So you gave me one of the things I ask for whenever I have a guest on is I say, give me your talking points. And it gives me a good idea of what we're going to be talking about. So I want to go to the first one, which I don't know if you know this, but authenticity is important to me. It's one of my 2 top core values. And you said authenticity is key. So that made me happy. I was like, of course, this is a great subject to talk about. So tell me what you mean by that.
Okay, so the truth is that you have to be true to yourself. As a leader, you have to know who you are and whose you are. And the reality is that in the middle of a crisis, the leader, the person that's navigating the ship, there's going to be uncertainty. You're going to have a sense of, okay, what do I do next? And the people around you need to be able to feel that they can trust you. So if you're unsure, it's best to let the people around you know that you're unsure. So it gives people a sense of comfort knowing that the leader is authentic, that they're true to themselves. Because if you're true to yourself, it's almost like your core value. Like Ann said, authenticity is one of her biggest core values. So if you already know what your foundation is, it's easier for you to lead from that place. So when you're in the middle of a crisis and you have that foundation set up, if you know integrity is big for you, there's not going to be anything that's going to take you outside of doing what it is that you're supposed to do. So authenticity is all about you growing. You know what your limits are. You know what your strengths are. So when you're being authentic, you're true to yourself. You know your limits. You know you have to keep growing. You know you have to be trustworthy and truthful to the people that are in front of you. So in the middle of a crisis, you can't lie to people. You have to keep it real.
Right, exactly. I think one of the best pieces of advice I ever heard, and it was a private piece of advice, so it wasn't business related, but they said, if you don't know what to say, like, so if somebody's died, that was the example it was given to me. And, somebody has lost their parent. And instead of trying to come up with something to say, and people will often say something stupid in these situations, say, I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. Right? Because being that person, being the authentic person, it's much easier. You're not lying about who you are. Sometimes if you want to put on your best face, but at the same time, you need to be honest and say, this is scary. This is scary for me. And for business owners right now, especially the ones who are having to lay people off, I think it's good for them to let people know, this is really hard for me. This is something that I am so sorry I'm having to do. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure I bring you back. Right. So if you're being absolutely, this is how I feel. This is not just a business decision. I take it very personally, because that's what I think people don't understand about small businesses is we're owners of a business, but we're people and we care about our people, So, and actually, what were you going to say? Because
I think that's very good, because it's about, a lot of times when you're a leader, people assume a lot of different things. Because when I was an assistant principal, there were a lot of assumptions that people would make about what would happen in the office with us and the decisions that were being made in our leadership roles. And sometimes you don't see everything. But as the leaders in the building, the principal, the assistant principal, we were seeing all of the picture. But if you're not real with your people and you're not coming out and saying, hey, we really care about the people that we serve, but some leaders don't feel that they should say that. They don't want to be real. They don't want to be vulnerable in front of people, but you need to be.
I think you need it. Yes.
Where you have to be honest with the people that you're serving.
Well, and on a marketing standpoint, let me say this, because let me say this to all of you who are wondering, you need to be real. So right now is a really good time to say to your customers, hey, we're doing everything we can to stay afloat and to stay in business. But these are some of the ways you can help us out. You can like us on Facebook, or you can you follow us on Twitter, or you can buy a pair of socks. You know what I mean? Give them something they can do, and tell them, because they want to help. And if you're honest with them, it's a good time to really let that authenticity be out there for you. But we talked about people, and putting people first. So I think that's something that every leader has to do.
It's very important that you put your people first, because I just think about all the different times when in leadership, it's just important, in good or bad times. In this crisis, it's all about the safety of everyone, right? Looking at the big picture, what do we need to do to keep everyone safe? And as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that I was responsible for when I was in leadership as an assistant principal was the school safety and emergency management plan. The key thing was keeping everyone safe inside the building. No one could come in, or if there was something going on, and you've seen all the different things that has happened in schools. So people first requires you to think, you have to see way ahead of sometimes of the things that may potentially happen. You gave up your rights as a leader. When you decide to be a leader, you pick that mantle. When you picked up the mantle of leadership, you said, I'm going to put these people first. Even in your house as a parent, you have to put the needs of those individuals that you're serving first.
Right.
Kids, your husband, and all of those things. And I'm not saying as a leader, you're not taking care of yourself. What I'm saying is, if you're thinking about the people first, if compassion is first, then that's important. You're putting people first, always.
Well, and I think a lot of people are putting, you're in a crisis like this, you're in danger of putting your bottom line first. Right. And that's important. Your bottom line, without making money, you can't hire people. That's important. And I get that. But how can you do both? How can you do something in a way? Because here's the thing. If you say to people, it may be putting people first by laying them off right now. Because if ultimately you go out of business, right, then they don't have a job. And that's the fear I have for small businesses right now and for our economy, is if these small businesses go out of business because they're trying to take care of their employees when they don't have the money to do it, then eventually they have, the money's going to dry up. And when it dries up, those people are out of a job. So either they're out of a job for a month or a month and a half or 2 months, or they're out of a job for long term. And so they have to think about that. So that might be still putting somebody first, even if you're having to lay them off.
Yeah. And I think people will respect a leader who kind of lays it out for them. In small business, if you come to someone and say, listen, I'm going to take a pay cut first. I've seen in some organizations where company leaders are saying, I'm not going to take a paycheck, or you could come in part-time. However they're doing it, as long as your people know that you're communicating the information, you're not just randomly doing things. People understand your goal is to lift them, serve them, add value to them. If the you're leading understand that you care, and if your motivation is all about helping and serving them, they will respect you for it, whatever decision is that you have to make.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then this next one is really important. You have to be flexible and you have to be adaptable. Somebody said the other day, this is how we always did it, is not the answer. It's no longer the answer.
Yeah, a lot of people keep saying, oh, we need to go back to our normal. And I don't know. It's, flexibility, being flexible and adaptable is very important in leadership, in just anything that you're doing. A crisis will have a lot of changes, as you have noticed. Every day there's something else that happens. John Maxwell in the 15 Invaluable Laws talks about that you need to be a river and not a reservoir. If you're a river, then you're constantly flowing. You're adding value to people. You're in the process of growing and doing the best that you can. So that's what flexibility is about. Adaptability means that you have to, when a change comes, you have to be able to adjust. It's like a coach, a football coach, basketball coach. They are always adjusting their game. They start off with a game plan, but they know if their team isn't doing well on the court or on the field, they have to do something different to change the game around. You have to adjust. So as you're moving through this, flexibility and adaptability are key in your leadership. It has to happen.
Actually, I love that. I was actually, first of all, I wrote down the be a river and not a reservoir. I love that I take myself off the screen once in a while. If you guys wonder what I'm doing when I'm off the screen, it's that I'm writing the notes so that I can prepare them for myself later and use them for myself. But you said the thing about the coach, and it did occur to me, and this is, we can just kind of let this one lie after I say it, but I wonder if like Coach K, he's been coaching for all these years, if he looks at his teams, because he has to change based on which players come in and which teams he's playing against and what the season's like and all of this. But I wonder if when this happens, if there are years where he goes, wait, this is almost exactly, this is almost exactly like that team in 1984 that, whatever it was.
Who knows? You never, I mean, it potentially could happen, because here's the thing. Crisis it's not the first time we're experiencing the crisis. So there are going to be times in your life where you can pull from something you've done before or an experience that you've had that you can utilize in a present crisis. And I believe that. I really believe that. So sometimes we think, oh my God, I've never experienced this before. I don't know what to do. You just think back in your life. Trust me, if you're breathing and living, you've experienced some sort of challenge. It may not be to this extreme, but you've experienced something that you can utilize to help you in the current state that you're in.
Exactly. And so many people are going to learn from this one. They're going to learn more about themselves. They're going to learn more about their employees, and they're going to learn more about what they are actually capable of in the future, what their companies are capable of in the future. I think this flexibility and adaptation means that they're seeing things that they didn't even know they could do. Watching people take their businesses online, for instance, right? They didn't know they could do that, and suddenly they are. So that's really cool.
Yeah, which is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So grow yourself to develop others. This is,
Oh, I know. You're like, oh my gosh, Cherise, what? You want me to grow myself during the middle of a crisis? Yes, I do. It's very important. I have a mastermind group that I have coming up that's going to be on the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. It starts on May 1st. And it's going to be around this book and, 3 weeks of talking about growing yourself. As a leader, you need to grow yourself so you can grow other people. And that's really important. The thing is, when you're going through a crisis, you have to educate yourself about the changes that are happening every day, staying on top of those things, and at the same time, trying to stay ahead of what could potentially happen. You're having to, if you have to scale back with the changes that are happening or whatever it is, as a leader, you can't just be learning information and keeping it to yourself. You have to with your team. So once you're growing yourself, then you're developing the team members around you. There's so many organizations right now who had proper systems in place and were ready for this crisis. They know who their power players were. They knew who all the people on the team were that could kind of, be adaptable and flexible. Then they're the people they're the companies and organizations or small businesses that may not have been prepared. So what do you do in that situation? If you fell into the situation like that, I believe that servant leadership is the highest quality of a leader. And if you're growing yourself to develop others, then you're serving first.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely true. It's and you see it in the really good leader. I mean, I'll go back to Coach K, and I don't know why I haven't thought about him in probably 5 years. But if you look at him, he doesn't have his players on the team just learn about basketball. It's one of the things I admire about him is that he grows his players. He grows young men who come out of that and they are better people because he's developed them, right? But I think he's constantly growing.
Yeah, because it's very important to know what the strengths are. And during this time, you're going to have to focus mostly on the strengths of those people. Because here's what crisis does, Anne. It reveals those things within yourself and also within your organization that may not be working.
Right.
And it will also show you the things that are working and the people that are attached to those things. Yeah. That's what it means, So growing yourself is very important. And if you're someone as a leader who's been growing all along and you've just been holding on to it, it's that river reservoir comparison again. And you've just been holding on to everything rather than sharing with your people. That's not going to be a good team to be on right now.
No.
Versus the team where the leader was sharing all the time and making sure that the team was developed. They were going to professional development, whatever trainings there are. I mean, think about how much money you've spent to get yourself and the people on your team trained for social media as a small business owner.
Right. Exactly.
The investments you've made.
Yeah. So I want to remind everybody who is watching, as you're watching, if you want to leave us comments or you have questions for us, please do that. I want to ask actually our viewers, what have you learned about yourself in this? What have you learned about yourself that maybe you didn't know? And what are you doing? Actually, I got a phone call this morning. You'll like this, Cherise. I got a phone call from Vince over at Jimmy Tech. And he said he was so excited. And he said, I found something that brought peace to my soul this morning. And I just have to tell you. And so he was telling me, I wrote it down. It's called Lacido 365. It is I think it's an app. I'm going to look it up, but it is a daily devotional, basically. But it's done on the phone. You can listen to it. And he said he's been struggling and he found this peace in it. And that's it. I mean, if that was something that was really neat for him to be honest about, authentic, right? To say, but I'm still trying to grow. And so I found this great app and I want to share it with you, right? How cool is that?
That's very cool.
Yes.
That's something as a leader, you have to know within yourself what's happening with you and be able to check yourself and then find resources to help you. And then immediately he shared it with someone else that he knows is in the same situation. It's what I live by, iron sharpening iron.
Exactly.
To go out there and that's what Vince did. He found a way to help him and then he shared it with you. And as you have to know who you are.
And that's just a great example of him. That is what he does. That is really what he does.
Good job.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep. All right. So leverage your team.
Okay. So if you're growing yourself to develop others, that helps you to leverage your team. And leveraging your team means focusing on the strengths of the people that are on your team. We can all identify the weaknesses all the time of those people that are on our team or in our families, whatever your team is right now. But if you've developed the people around you, you can now see those people that are good at whatever that is. They're talented at, whatever their giftings are. And now you can leverage that to help you during this crisis. So you can then delegate. So you're not doing everything. Because as a leader, when you're in the middle of a crisis, you think everything is already coming towards you. You think you have to make all the decisions, but you really don't. You don't have to do everything. It's one mission, one vision, one team. You're on the same, going in the same direction. And what leveraging your team allows you to do is to see the whole playing field. Imagine all those people that were hiding in their offices and were not really engaged in their company or organization. And now they went all the way to Zoom and they now can't hide anymore. You can't be on your cell phone. Where's my phone? You can't be on your phone at the board meeting anymore going, okay, you know, this person's talking. You can't do that anymore.
Right.
On a Zoom call, or, you know, everyone can see you. You have to be engaged. You have to show what you know or don't know. And so this allows you to leverage your team. Because that way, once you know the strengths of those people, those people will help you to move the organization. And even if you're not moving, but keeping you steady as you navigate the crisis.
Right. You know, I just hired somebody Friday, and I'm really excited. She should be starting this week. And over the weekend, she sent me 3 different things, at least 3, maybe even more, saying, hey, you have this typo. And it's all of my personal stuff that I'm doing, but she called it. And I was like, you know, that's awesome. And so as we're bringing her on, one of the things I'm looking at for her is, where can she help us improve? What is she seeing? And this was typos, but there were other things. We created a campus, and she looked at the videos and she's like, hey, these are some of the things you can improve for the next videos, right? So that's a really nice trait to find in her. So how do I then utilize her? And that is so important that we do that we're really utilizing people. All right, hold on. We have a comment from Kim Greco. Kim, she does dog training. She's really, really good at it. She says, I leverage my team for sure. What do you recommend when there are things that need to be done and there are not any current team members that have those strengths?
Well, sometimes, you know, I've been in that situation. So sometimes you're gonna have to, you know, as you're developing, Kim, then you start to develop those people in that area. I'm not really sure what that is that you're looking for those people to do. Hopefully it's not technology, because that would not be something I could help with, but because to answer your question, what you need to really do is they have other strengths within them. So there has to be something you can do to help that person to grow them, or find someone to help them to grow in that area.
Right. Well, you know, the other thing that I would suggest is looking. So I think of my team as Anastasia, Whitney, Ethan, and Jordan, right? That's my team. But really, it's also Kat and Dylan and the other Ethan. And, you know, there's a whole group of people outside. Ben at Baltimore Graphics. There's a whole group of people that are outside of my team here. How can I leverage them? Can I outsource this? I mean, I know, Kim, you probably heard the story 3 days ago, but I'm going to say it again. I had to hire my accountant because I went months without billing any clients.
Wow.
And I just didn't have the time to do it, and I didn't have what it took to do it. So I had to hire it. So sometimes outsourcing it and reaching out to people, you know, Kim, I'm on your team. I'm in your circle. So reach out to me. Let me know if there's something that you need that I can introduce you to, because maybe I can do it, but maybe not. Maybe there's somebody else I can say, oh, they can help you. And don't feel like you have to hire people on your team that are full-time. That's right.
Yeah. I agree with that. I definitely like the idea of outsourcing, or even if it's not something, because I remember in building my team when I was in Maryland working, you were on my team. You're still on. You know, you try to create people, like, you know, I mentioned technology. That's not my area. So I always find people to help me with it. Am I always paying somebody? Not necessarily. I just call someone and say, hey, I need help with this, and they'll help you with it. Right. So you're developing those people. That's a great way to kind of do it too.
Exactly. Expand your circle. You know, I want to say, because you just said that, expand your circle. Tim, I think you're part of, and actually you should be part of this too, Cherise. we're part of a group called Smart Women Professionals. I'll have you join that group as well. But it's awesome. And there's a person in there named Suzanne Ratty, and she talks about your sphere of influence. So who's your sphere of influence? But that's also those people your influence are also the ones who will help you. So, we have another comment. Tiffany Kaufman said, I know, isn't it fun?
No, I'm laughing because we have the same problem, Tiffany, but yes.
So delegation has always been one of my biggest weaknesses. I really struggle to balance and not just work more to do it myself. I feel like most days I'm living in a reactive state.
Okay, so Tiffany, let me just say this, okay? As a former and a retired educator and assistant principal, Anne knows a little bit of my story. And I'll just tell you briefly, what I'm going to say is that when you don't delegate, you will put yourself in a place of just sometimes a place of like no return. So right. Delegation is very important. Okay. So that means that there's a trust factor and a control issue, right? So right. You trust the people that you're training and then release control to them to do the work that you have to have them do. Because you can't, I know we want to, as moms and leaders and business owners, we want to be all things to everyone else, but we cannot. And that's why it's so important as you're growing yourself as a leader, that you're developing the people around you, because then you're releasing control and you're allowing people to do that. You will be amazed what will happen. When I started to delegate things, in my leadership role, it was amazing. When I started to release control, what the talents and the giftings that people have within them, they will blow your mind.
Yes.
And it's okay. I had some sleepless nights, don't get me wrong, where I was just like, oh my God, is this going to get done? But people will rise to the occasion when given the opportunity to do so.
Right. I have a small, Tiffany, I hope this tip will help you as well. I got lucky. Everybody knows I got Anastasia, and Anastasia is the best thing that ever happened to me other than my husband and my children. And she's really, really close to them, man. Because she's so great. But I had this moment of clarity where I said to her, Anastasia, my time, I've calculated my time out. My time is worth $250 an hour. So you need to remind me when I'm doing something that is something I could pay somebody $15 an hour for, that's what I need to do. So tell me, straight up, and that is below your pay grade. Stop doing it. And it probably took a good 6 months of her saying, that's below your pay grade. Stop doing it. Before I started saying, hey, can you find somebody who can do this for me? Right.
Yeah.
So I think
I'm sorry, Anne.
No, go.
Because operating outside of your strength area is horrible. It doesn't feel, I'm telling you, I don't, and I'm going back to it again. And I'm sure that, I have a couple of friends, they'll laugh at me. My son makes fun of me about this all the time. It's just, the technology stuff, setting up, getting lighting, all these things, it's just, that takes hours of time. What I want to do is what I'm doing right now. I would not do those things. So it's just better to find people that are good at that are talented in that area. That's why you have to be so mindful. Some people you inherit on your team, depending on the organization you're working in. But if you have a small business, it's so important to surround yourself with people that, one, support your mission and your values, that, of course, of your business, but also finding people that are stronger in areas that you are not.
Right, exactly.
Because in a crisis, those are the people that are going to really help you to steady your ship.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for my team and what they can do for me, because I could never do this on my own. The only way I could do it is to let go of, most of my clients and keep a handful. And then maybe I could run that handful, but I would never grow. There'd be no growth for me. If you want to grow, you've got to learn to delegate. And once you do it, and that doesn't mean letting it go. I don't just hand something to Anastasia and say, well, Anastasia, I do, but she's been here for a long time. But I don't just hand something to somebody and say, hey, run with this. They report back to me and they let me know, okay, this is what's done. We have a system set up for that. And actually I use Zoho projects. That helps a lot, because then I see when it's done, and, they don't even have to report back to me. I can tell that it's been done.
Yeah,
So
that's good. You have checkpoints and check-ins, which really help you with that, and that's important. Yeah.
exactly. So persevere and being steadfast. So that's our final subject for today, though. So that makes me
Yeah.
sad.
I know, right? Well, okay, so perseverance is one of my core values, just like authenticity is Anne's. This is big for me. And you cannot, you just have to persevere and be steadfast. And even if you're not necessarily seeing any growth in your business that's visible to your eye right now, you just need to stay the course. And I say that, I mean, I was having a conversation with my son last night, and it was very important because he said something to me that I thought was very key. He said, Mom, there have been times when I thought that I wasn't growing at all. You know, I was taking these little baby steps and I didn't see where I was going. I couldn't figure out if I was growing or not. And then he said, but then people started to notice. He started to see shifts in different areas of his life because he was taking those steps. That's why perseverance is important. So even if you can't see where you're going, you have to just, the whole staircase right now, just keep taking the necessary steps. You have to keep pushing. You have to, make sure you're engaging in your business. You have to be resilient. You have to have stamina, both mental and physical stamina. Because as leaders, I'm going to just spend some time right there. You need to make sure you're taking care of yourself physically, because stamina, make sure you're taking care of yourself physically and also your mental state as well. Taking time for yourself. So perseverance, you cannot give up. So you have to it's almost like you have to literally keep focusing on what's the thing that's most important to you. What's your big why? In my world, perseverance was the one thing I had to work through for the last 4 years was getting healthy and being healed in my body. So that was my focal point. So you have to focus on whatever that is and just move toward it one step at a time.
Yep. That was really good. Matt said something about all the small steps you take. Greatness is all the small steps you take to get there. But, I'll ask you, how do you eat an elephant? One
bite at a time.
Exactly.
I used to try to eat the whole elephant because I thought I was Superwoman or something.
Right.
It didn't work out well.
Yeah, it's, I know I've told you the story, Cherise, but I'm going to say it for a lot of people who followed my Anne's Running commentary have heard this. But when I was training for Ironman, I went for a run and it was a 7-mile run. And I thought, holy crap, that was really hard. And I'm like, how am I ever going to get there? And then my son had said something to me that morning. He was at West Point at the time going through Bee's summer. He'd emailed, not emailed me, sent me a letter. And the letter said something about eating an elephant one bite at a time. It totally changed the way I looked at things. So I can only do what I can do today. But as long as I know what that goal is that I'm trying to reach, that's great. I think your son is so smart. Noah is so smart.
I know. Thank goodness. I was looking at him and I thought to myself, okay, Mr. I guess you figured it out before he's like 45, which is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was really powerful that he said that. I was like, wow, little steps at a time.
Exactly.
You have to conquer the whole world, all the time when we're doing things. So
exactly. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell people how to get in touch with you. They can go to your website. They can on the website they can sign up for your next class, right?
Yeah. So I have several things going on right now. I have starting on May 1st to June 5th, I have a 6-week course on the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. It's this book. I mentioned it a few times throughout. It's this one, right? You don't really need the book, but it's on that book. It's a 6-week mastermind group. It'll be done virtually. And then that starts on May 1st. It'll be every Friday. And you have 2 options, either 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. I give the 2 options because I like to give people options, in choosing what's convenient for them. So that starts May 1st to June 5th. It's 6 weeks. You can sign up for that on the website at ironsgroup.llc.com. There'll be like a pop-up. You click on the link and it'll take you through the process with the form. If you have any problems, just send me an email. The other thing is Leading Through Crisis. That is a 4-week session. I had one session that was happening already. That session is closed and is coming to an end this Wednesday. I'm going to start a new session on the 29th, which is next Wednesday. That is every Wednesday at either 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. as well. That's 4 weeks. It's titled Leading Through Crisis. And if you're, wanting to do that, that's that one. The other two things that I also do is every Monday night at 8 p.m. on my show Living Today on my Irons Group LLC page on Facebook. I go live. I will teach a lesson. So I'm going live tonight at 8. So if you want to come by, we'll be talking about a different topic. I teach on a different content. I never reveal my topic until I do. So if you want to know, you got to come listen to the show. And then on Fridays, I have been doing since February servant leadership, focusing on servant leaders. And what I did was I moved it to Fridays. So every Friday night at 8 p.m., I've been doing a servant leader highlight. So what I do is I get a bio, I put up information. Anne was highlighted on the show 2 weeks ago, or I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. If you know someone who's interested in, that's a servant leader in the community, that's doing great work, amazing work, then you can send me their information and I take it from there and I do those. So that's pretty much what's going on. If you want to find me, I'm on Instagram at Miss Iron Sharpens, on Facebook at Irons Group LLC. My website is on the bottom of the screen. It's ironsgroupllc.com. And you can shoot me an email in there if you have any questions to continue this conversation.
And I know you do lunch and learns where you talk to companies about their leadership. You do leadership lunch and learns, right?
Yes, I do lunch and learns with different organizations. Now I love playing the leadership game. It's in the office on the room, but I have the John Maxwell team leadership game. I love playing that game. So I've done lunch and learns using the game.
That thing is great. That thing told me a lot about the group of people you were with. And I think that a lot about ourselves as well.
Yes, and I'm going to be playing it virtually with I have this other thing, but I forgot to mention this. It's something I'm working on right now with my son. We're going to be doing a youth event with some of our friends and their children. It's like going to be a family game night, but we're going to be using the John Maxwell team leadership game for teens.
That's awesome.
That out if you're interested and your family is interested, that would be cool. You could come forth and do that because every month and during the month of April, the John Maxwell team has the Global Youth Initiative event, and that is to reach young people across the globe. We're still doing it, even though we can't physically meet with people. We're still doing it, and the goal this year is to reach 1 million young people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing too as well. So I'll put that out there. But yeah.
Well, and before we end, Tiffany had one more question. She says, if you could pick one book, what would it be to get more focused on growing as a leader and delegating?
Wow. Okay. So there's a couple.
I was actually thinking.
Start with the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Just because I'm a John Maxwell team coach, I would start there, Tiffany. That's the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's a great book. The one that I just mentioned is not bad because that's also good. The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, because it's about personal leadership. That's a great book. There's also Developing the Leader Within You that I've read. I just finished reading a book called Love Leadership by John Hope Bryant. That one's not bad, but that's geared. Well, it's a great book if you're he's really all about serving and leading and talking about love leadership. It's a new concept, but it's something that it kind of ties in with what we were talking about this morning about how we need to lead differently. So that's a good book. Yeah. So
you have a lot of books.
Oh yeah, because I read a lot.
Yeah.
If I took you into my I could show you like a list of books. But if she needs more, I could send her just email me and I'll give you a couple more.
That'd be great. All right. So I'm going to remind everybody again, please go over and subscribe on my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/BrennanAnnie or / I guess, Brennan Annie. And then I want to talk to you about tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Alice-Ann Loftus from Leading Ladies, and she's going to be talking about positive psychology and leadership and how you can lead from a place of positive psychology. So I'm pretty excited about that. Cherise, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. It's been fun.
It's been super fun. Thank you so much, Anne. I'm so glad I got to be here with you all this morning. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Anne, for having me. I'm glad I got to spend some time with you when I saw you when I was in Maryland the last time.
Me too.
And yeah, I know.
Before social distancing.
Right. So before social distancing. So hopefully, I know we'll be out of this pretty soon, and I'm really excited that you guys are doing well, and just keep leading out there. If you're a leader, and everyone's a leader in
Yes.
any. So if you're at home, if you're a mom, a dad, I know parents are out there teaching and running a business and doing all these things right now. Everyone at this point, we're all in the middle of something that's foreign, is ever changing every day. We just can't give up. We have to keep persevering and stay.
Right, exactly.
So,
all right. Well, I will talk to you again soon. Stick around. I'm going to talk to you after the show.
No problem. Thank you, Anne.
Okay, thanks.
Everyone.